Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the best calls for the Great League Season 26 with buffed Pokemon. And today we're going to take a look at basically two Pokemon that are fitting really well together, and then you just need one of those common say-stops in between and you're going to have a great team. And so today we're going to take a look at these. If you want to follow the channel, of course, feel free to do that. It is free here, and there's going to be a top team video later on today as well, so definitely stay tuned for that one. And let's dive right into this video. Starting off with a Pokemon that got nerfed this season. Core number one is gonna start off with Bastiodon, and which other Pokemon is kinda fitting perfectly that got recently buffed. With this Pokemon, of course, it is going to be Medicham. Medicham and Bastion together is just absolutely perfect still. Especially if Medicham as a say-stop makes a lot of sense for this kind of team. What I would actually do, like now mostly myself when I would play the game, is going to be like Bastion, lead, say-stop, Medicham, because you have Ice Punch as a coverage, so you can bait out potential flying type Pokemon, while you're also going to be very solid against Pokemon that are fighting type. And then in the back as a closer, you can actually run the Psycho Cut Gallade as well at the current time as a very hard hitting closer there. I think it would be a fun team to run. Otherwise, if you want to have a bit of a safer option there, you can go for Sableye, for example, as a say-stop, and then the Medicham in the back. That kind of stuff would all work out, because again, as well, Sableye is going to have coverage against those flying type Pokemon, resisting the fast moves or like resisting the fighting type damage, as well as against the flying type Pokemon. You have access to Power Gem, so a rock type move just like Bastiodon. Well, the Core Breakers. The Core Breakers is going to be Annihilape here, which I don't really think is the case anymore, as you are running a low kick as well right now. You should be able to survive one Rage Fist on the Medicham anyway, and then you're going to have the Psycho Cut damage plus Ice Punch damage that's going to add up, and I think in the two-shield scenario is actually not going to be too bad. An actual Core Breaker more would be Jellicent from this list here. That's going to be the biggest core breaker kinda, as it's going to be good against both Elite as well as your Medicham. It's kind of the hardest into Medicham, which makes it a bit more difficult to run it as a say-stop. I would rather than you can go ahead and go for Gallade say-stop, or you can go ahead and go for the say-stop of the Sableye for this team. Annihilape is going to be a Pokemon that I have to talk about, because recently PvP changed their move updates basically there as well, their ranking system, and I do think there's going to be more changes coming as well, because I still can't see that Waterfall is just going to be 9 energy. I do think it's going to be 10. But basically here, Annihilape with a low kick is going to be now in the top 20, I think, which is going to be an interesting one there. I think it has non-shadow first, but here with low kick, Rage Fist, and close combat, you have immediate pressure, and so I would recommend you to try this Pokemon out in the lead, as you're going to be able to pressure immediately with the close combat, as you're going to get there way fast now thanks to the low kick buff. But as you can see here, Wigglytuff is going to be the partner in crime. Not too surprising, as we're going to have the weakness of Annihilape against like those mainly ghost type Pokemon, which we're going to be able to beat with the Wigglytuff, as well as Wigglytuff has ice type coverage, which helps out with the flying type weakness of the Annihilape. Core Breakers for this is going to be mainly Clefable, definitely there. Also Talonflame kinda, but actually Annihilape can still kinda deal with Talonflame a little bit as well, as you're going to be able to outspeed it with a low kick and Rage Fist, so like you're going to be able to play it out maybe in two shields, get them very low, and then have like your say-stop as a answer then there as well. Say-stops here, for example, could be something like like any kind of normal type Pokemon, like the Ferret or the Licky, stuff like this all would work out. Licky most likely even more, because it's going to have you better prepared for the Talonflame, and actually helps out with basically all the matchups that are going to be a bit more difficult for this team. Core number 3 is going to be Politoed. Shell Politoed is actually ranked higher than the normal Politoed. Both of them are going to be very solid though, and I was thinking that Gligar makes a lot of sense here. Gligar only having really the weakness of water and ice, I think, is going to be something that, of course, Politoed both resists, as well as, you're going to have the Mudshot damage with the Politoed, as well as, of course, Gligar is going to be a ground type. You can also use Gliscor if you don't have Gligar. Gligar itself, I think, is ranked a little bit higher, even though Gliscor got access to like Acrobatics as a new charge move there as well on this Pokemon. But this core itself going to be core broken by a few more Pokemon, to be fair. Azumarill is still playable. They're all actually kind of still playable. Like what I would do is would use Gligar in the lead and have Politoed as my say-swap, and then have like another Pokemon in the back that works all well with Gligar, and then you're going to be kind of fine here. Something that kind of counters more the Moltres. For example, the best Pokemon that I would actually think of here for this team as a closer would be the Sealeo. Sealeo would make a lot of sense. Sealeo. I didn't want to say Sealeo. I meant the Azumarill. I saw the Sealeo as the number one answer for it. The Azumarill on the back makes a lot of sense here. It's going to be able to counter the Moltres as well. To be fair, Sealeo makes a lot of sense as well. So Sealeo and Azumarill make a lot of sense as a closer for this team, which is kind of funny. So like if you want to make a team out the score, then go ahead and do so. Empoleon is going to be next, and of course we're going to have here Dragon-type Pokemon that fits just well with this thing. Like, Empoleon itself is going to be weak to ground as well as fighting. Our Pokemon doesn't really counter it, but our Pokemon is kind of weak to ice and fairy, which Empoleon can counter. Shelgon got buffed. Shelgon got buffed quite significantly to the point that this Pokemon is going to be top meta apparently for the upcoming season. And yeah, let's take a look here at the Pokemon that are going to be more difficult. And we're going to see here Primeape, Annihilape. Yeah, they're going to be a bit more difficult. You kind of have still play with a Shelgon for sure. Togekiss you can beat with Empoleon usually, or they can at least play it out with Empoleon. And then you have Corsa and yeah, Empoleon. So like basically you have 3 Pokemon that could be a bit problematic, but none of them are really that tough for you to deal with either, and the rest is totally fine. So yeah, that's going to be a very good core again. And again, you can use something like Shelgon Saesop, Altaria in the back as a closer, or use something different like as a Saesop, for example, the Sableye, and then have the Shelgon as a closer. That all makes a lot of sense. It all should work out quite well. Give it a try, and we can move on to team number 5, or like core number 5, sorry. We have Sealeo. Shadow Sealeo here. This Pokemon is going to work really well with a Pokemon that I'm kind of actually excited for, most likely nobody else, but I think it's a fun Pokemon that got kind of more caught in between here by this buff, by this update, to the point that I don't think that was really intended to make this Pokemon very good. But this Pokemon is going to be very unique what it can do. It has great coverage, it has a fast move that's non-step, it's a charge move that's non-step, but it has also a charge move that is step, that is very powerful. The Pokemon we're talking about is Swalot. This makes a lot of sense here, as using like Sealeo in the lead and using Swalot as your Saesop, and maybe something like a Clodsire in the back as your closer would make a lot of sense here, because you have Ice Beam coverage on Swalot, you have an Ice type in the lead, and you're going to be able to cover up the weakness of the Sealeo against the Grass as well as the Fighting type, as well as then having against the Electric typing the super effective Mudshot against them. While Swalot itself is only going to be weak against Psychic, not really covered here, as well as Ground, which you're going to be able to cover with the Sealeo as well. This makes kind of for a perfect core, and we're going to see as well the Pokemon are going to be tough to deal with. Empoleon, I do agree with it, kind of tough, but the fast move of Swalot is still going to be super effective. The Jellicent itself is actually the hardest answer for that, because Jellicent is going to be able to resist every single charge move here, and the rest is actually totally fine. The Quagsire is fine with the Sealeo lead. Morpeko can be a bit trickier, I guess, as well, but you can survive a hit with Swalot, and you're going to be able to win this then with Mudshot and such. But yeah, that is going to be it for this core. Very cool core here, and we can move on to core number 6. We're going to have Altaria and Greedent. Altaria, yeah, being able to resist the only weakness of Greedent. Greedent is just a very nice Saesop. I think Greedent is perfect as a Saesop in this meta, but I kind of want to still highlight it because it's a very cool Pokemon. It's very fast now to the Trailblaze, so you can wrap up yeah, those attack boosts very fast and then have access to Body Slam to spam those moves. It's a very nice, safe, neutral Pokemon. This is just a very nice and easy core that you can run. You can run basically anything in the back. You can run, for example, Altaria lead, and then in the back as a closer, the Empoleon again. And then you're going to be in a very good position with this team and this Pokemon here. Core number 7. This is kind of where like a lot of Pokemon can fit in. Swampert, the only thing that you really need to know here is run Swampert together with any kind of flying type. Toucannon I have here in the back, you can run anything basically in the back. Swampert has one weakness, Grass. You're going to be able to beat it with Flying type. Flying types have, yeah, 2 weaknesses, I guess, in Ice and Electric, as well as Rock, actually 3 weaknesses, which all kind of is fine for Swampert, so like this is a perfect core. Yeah, and then again, as a Saesop here, I would have Corviknight, for example. As you see, there's basically nothing that can break it. Empoleon is not really a hard counter, like both Pokemon hit it really hard still, even like the Toucannon hits it hard because Empoleon doesn't have any bulk. Sealeo is, I guess, the worst Pokemon to encounter for this one. I feel like Sealeo and Jellicent is going to have definitely a bit of a ranking increase this season as well in terms of usage, because both of them actually fit quite well into the current meta as an anti-meta Pokemon. Next one, Galarian Stunfisk is back. This Pokemon is actually really interesting now, as it got buffed only recently, so with the Rock side, now with Mudshot as well. It's kind of back to where it was back in the day, but not as strong. I think Rock side is still a tiny bit weaker, and I think Earthquake is a tiny bit weaker than before. But this Pokemon dominated. Same goes for the Noctowl, and they're actually fitting well together here as well. Noctowl could be also nice with a Swampert, by the way. But yeah, we have like 2 very bulky Pokemon that really fit well together. You have, of course, Lead. It's going to be able to counter the Ice type and the Electric type and the Rock type weakness that you have with Noctowl, as you're going to be able to hit all of them for super effective damage. As yeah, basically there. And you're going to have here now the Lead. Of course, it's going to be weak to ground and fighting, which Noctowl can deal with. So this is a perfect core. Quagsire is the worst Pokemon to encounter apparently, and that's basically it. Like the rest is going to be fine. Hello Knight has of course no wall type coverage, which makes it a little bit more awkward, but the rest is totally neutral, and so there's a really nice core to run for the upcoming season. Core number 9, we're going to have here a core of the Articuno as well as the Gastrodon. Gastrodon only weak again to the grass typing. Articuno can deal with it and beats ice types quite easily. Articuno being weak to rock, steel, or electric, fire, basically a whole bunch of types. Everything kind of is getting resisted or like destroyed by Gastrodon. Those like they're fit really well together, to the point that the only weakness here is Sealeo, because it can't deal with Articuno really. And the rest is totally fine. Like I really don't see that there's like really a big issue with this team at all. You can basically deal with anything. Again, Jellicent could be a bit of a problem here as well, though, again, for this one, just because they don't have the best charge moves other than like Hurricane, but like then the fast moves resisted. So Jellicent would be, I guess, again, one of the best answers to this core. Final core, we're going to have Pelipper. And with Pelipper together, we're going to take a look at Forretress, both of which got buffed, and Forretress also nerfed with the Rock Tomb doing a little bit less damage, but Sand Tomb does now double the amount of damage as before, and that is actually putting this Forretress type, quite like the non-shell Forretress, up to the top 20 all of a sudden, and it's just a very difficult Pokemon to remove. Pelipper is going to be working out quite well together, and this is, okay, you can imagine on the side the Pelipper here as well, which would be able to deal with the Talonflame, of course, and the Annihilape and the Gourgeist. Don't know why I messed up there, forgot to put in the Pelipper apparently. But that's going to be it for this video. Those are going to be the best cores. Later on we're going to have the top teams as well, so definitely stay tuned for this. I will see you then. Bye bye.